Today I have the pleasure of deep diving with Emma Baker, Emma L. Baker. There she is. Give me 2 seconds to bring her in. I'm really excited for what we're about to deep dive into. I mentioned that in my post that one of the things I love about Emma is her self-expression. She's not ashamed of who she is. She stands unapologetically in the wholeness of who she is, and that's something that I fully admire in a woman who can stand there and just show up in her truth, show up in the fullness of her being. She is a beautiful woman, and I love that she's able to use her beauty in such a way where it's not it's strong. Like there's a strength in her beauty, and you'll see what I mean when she comes on. Give me a second. Let's see if this works. Give me a second. I had some problems last time with adding people as well, and I didn't think it was my end. Hey Sarah, great to have you on. Shane, hello. Oh, come on. Says it's adding you, beauty.
Hello!
Oh, amazing to have you here.
So excited. Thank you for having me. I was just
So welcome.
I was listening to half the intro, and for some reason it kept freezing, so I could hear some words and then not. So I'm like, I wonder if this will work. So I'm so glad that it came through. And I'm in front of you.
And there's your beautiful man's name's just popped up as well. Love that he's watching this.
The union.
Yeah.
Yay! Union support.
So beautiful. I just want to check in that everyone can hear okay, because I haven't got my headphones in. And can someone just type in and let me know that the sound is all right? Is it okay on your end, Emma?
Yep.
Perfect. I feel like it's good. So you are just like the embodiment of queen. The way you hold yourself, the way you dress, the way you show up in the world, the essence of you. And I just want to take a second to really, really honor you there for the way that you show up in so much truth and authenticity. So thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, I see you, sister, so deeply, and I will take a minute to receive that. And yeah, it wasn't that way. So for me, like, to be this is like, I feel like some people don't realize that I was 120 kilos and couldn't look in a mirror. So like, to be it and sit in it is like, fuck yeah, we get to celebrate. All of us queens get to celebrate our queendom, you know? And it's something that we all so deserve, just to dress in our essence and walk with it. So thank you for seeing me in, the work that I've put in to be who I be in this world.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thank you. And like 120 kilos, what's the difference now? What's your biggest difference from being, I'm just going to dive straight in.
Go on.
Hello.
Let's do it.
Hello to everyone who's coming on. So great to have so many people on today. So going from 120 kilos to being the size that you are now, what's been the biggest difference for you?
The realization that truly the mind is everything. Absolutely. Like the biggest realization, because being there in that journey and being 120 kilograms and losing all the weight and getting to my smallest knot in the awakening journey that I've been on now, is realizing that, some people we look and we judge like somebody that looks a certain way, feeling like they should be confident or they are, but really mind plays all of it. So the biggest difference for me is realizing the power of the consciousness of what we choose to celebrate and be, and how much I actually had to shift my internal being to show who I truly am, not just what I look like. Like my internal being is actually who I am, not my physical. So the shift in the realization of that, if I could go a bit deeper, is like, yes, I lost the 160 kilos or whatever. Depends on a month, we're women, it fluctuates. But like the realization that it's actually my internal being that's shifted and I've allowed in. And that's the difference. That's the difference in me. Not my physical being. It's like the internal being.
There's a woman that I have been seeing on Instagram. I don't go on a lot, and she's just been popping up in my feed when I am on, and she's curvy, and she is so in love with her curves. She is extraordinarily curvy. I would be like, I would say like 150 kilos plus in that department. And I was looking through, and I was curious what people were saying about her. She put up this really vulnerable post, and with her curves, it was just a stunning post. And the love like from that. I'm really loving how it's not mattering anymore your size, and the essence of a woman can truly shine through in her being, regardless of what size she is. 120 kilos, 50 kilos, 200 kilos. Like I love that women are rising in that.
Yes, and I truly believe that we feel like we want our physical being to shift, but it's actually our internal being knocking at the door. Like we feel like, because we don't know, like we are born into this world to become, right? So we sit into the becoming, and therefore when we realize we are in the being shows, and therefore the essence gets to celebrate in this life, and that's our frequency. That's internal self allowed to ruminate in this world. And I feel like when people feel that, like they feel the essence, and I can put it in latent terms of confidence, right? Like, or your truth, whatever we want to, like, I can say it in all the terms, but like the internal self, the heart, the soul, the truth. And yeah, it's like, it's crazy when you come into it and you realize how free you are. It's like so much deeper than confidence. It's just oneness in this reality, and just allowance, like permission, you know? And I agree, like,
yeah,
I agree. It's just fucking like, so I love it. I see curve and I see small, and I see all the beings starting to really celebrate who they be. And it's so inspirational. We all deserve it.
100%. Going from the flip side of that, like I've always been, up until a couple of years back, I was always in the 40 kilos. And it was like 47, 48 kilos. And people have always thought that I've had body issues, or that maybe I had anorexia or bulimia. And there's been people, I don't think it matters what weight you are, there's been people who've said to me, oh, you need a steak, or you're too skinny, or things like that. And now I'm actually the least in shape I've ever been in my life. And that internal stuff, like it's not even stuff, the internal piece for me, what you touched on before, it's like I don't even see the parts of me anymore that I used to see that I thought mattered. It's like, yeah, there's some cellulite on the butt. Yeah, there's some,
human
curves
welcome,
in the
human.
waist.
Welcome
human.
To the world.
Exactly.
You have been birthed.
And it's like, yeah, I love it. And it doesn't matter anymore. Like I'm the most happiest I've been, because that the mind and the being are happy.
Yes, 100%. It's the biggest piece. I feel like when we're stuck in our mind, we're stuck in an evolution where we aren't able to be our soul in this world. Like it's our biggest closure of experiencing the openness of this reality. And that's what I've received and conceived in this life so much since stepping into my confidence. It's a whole new world of every single way, shape and form.
You had a big moment for you that changed everything. Do you want to go into that?
Yeah, totally. Like, so yeah, I went through a time, it was from when I was about 15, I was in eating disorders without even consciously knowing. I was in the needing to become, and I was dieting. And I feel like any disposition of needing to change and you don't need to, there's a disorder there. There's like there's an experience of trying something that doesn't even need to be there for, an intellect fogginess. And anyway, yeah, from like 15 until about 21, I was just obsessed. I was just in this space where I felt like I am going to get there, and wherever that is, and I know it's going to be there. And that's a feeling I had. It's like, I'm going to get there. And when I get there, I know I'm going to get it. And that's all. I didn't even know what I was going to get. I was just like, it's going to be there. So every single day it was like, okay, readdressing. And I was, just in a space where the day at this gym, it wasn't my biggest and I wasn't my smallest. And this is like between all of the obsessions. And I got to a point where I was in the mirror and I was about to do squats. And and I looked at myself and it felt like a house landed on my fucking head. It was like a house landed on my head. And it was like I saw myself in the mirror for the very first time of my life. Like an awakening through self of looking so much fucking deeper than my physical body. And it was like my soul, I was that lost that it was like, boom, she needs to see what she is, like deeper than her physical being. And honestly, I was always like this positive, affirmative person. I didn't realize it. I call it now positive disconnect. Like we can be positive and disconnected. It's like, I'm cool, like everything's butterflies. And like, so I was that. I was always positive. I didn't realize. And that's beautiful because I experienced a more positive, frequency, but I still wasn't connected to my internal being. And in that moment, it's like my whole self shattered. I had my first panic attack that I've ever had in my life. I've never been that person that's like, and I couldn't breathe for like 10 minutes. And it was like this, the house that landed on me just inserted this new consciousness of, fuck, like I've actually gotten myself here through teaching myself that I'm not okay and I'm not good enough. And everything that I feel about myself is actually taught. I've taught myself that I hate my legs. I've taught myself that I'm not good enough. I'm taught myself. So it was like this huge like awakening of like everything that I was, it was learned, not actually given. I'd never been told that my legs were fat or that my belly was pudgy or that I wasn't good enough, or like, yes, in ways, but not to the point that I was. And yeah, it was like this realization of like, I'm going to teach myself the opposition. And it was like this full position of, and it was an awakening far deeper than I knew. I had two that fully altered my life, that one and a very different one. But in that moment, it was like, yeah, my whole consciousness altered to wanting to change, to just fuck it. Like, I'm here, I have a position in this life, and I deserve to teach myself that I'm good enough. And I knew that I had to teach it. So I started to actually, that day I ended up getting this affirmation book. I used to do PT at that time. And I got an affirmation book for myself, and I wrote at the start 10 things I love about myself, 10 or 20 physically. So I wrote it in, and then I ended up within a week, my whole being started to shift. I was like, oh my God. So then I think I gave out like 20 of them to my friends and family and wrote 20 things that I loved about them and got them to start the same thing. And yeah, that was the start of the shift of my entire life. The soul came knocking.
Like, I just listening to that, it's like fully hits the heartbone. Just knowing how many women are out there who don't see their soul essence, who can't see the magnificence of who they truly are. And I think there's so many parallels between the work you and I do with women, for them to be able to see that, to show them that they are, like, show them the truth of their being.
Yeah.
And,
what they're seeking isn't the physical form anyway.
No, and it's not the money. I love money. I love stuff, adventures. I love beautiful things in life. Those things, though, that seem to be the drivers, when we receive them, I feel like it's like, oh, well, that's a bit strange. I'm not feeling as fulfilled as I thought I would feel. It's like coming back to that. There's nothing in my life that's more important to me. And listening to you speak, it's just like the reiteration of that. There's nothing that's more important to me than my self-worth, my self-love.
Yes.
And then being the beaming light for other women for that as well. And I love that you had that awakening. I feel like everybody's awakening is different. Everybody's remembering coming home is so different. And thanks for sharing that. Just,
you're welcome.
Cool. Hit me there.
Yeah, I love that we have that similarity. I feel like, yeah, fuck, like if only I would have heard straight in the eye the truth. Like, that's why I'm such a pivotal. Like, now we're even diving into men's work. I've been able to become that much into my femininity that I get to create union within a man. But within this space, right, like the affirming and my authentic self comes out so potent, and I'm so not apologetic for it in the words that I speak straight to the core, because I believe that I needed someone just to say, what are you doing? Like, you are perfect, like, and like take me straight to my core in a way from their own core, not from their mind and not from telling me that it's wrong. Like, I needed someone in their core to speak to mine, you know? So for me, I'm like, I'm so in my core that there's no jolting, nah. Like, I'm just so in the knowing of, and like yourself, that if we speak to the people in that place, they feel it. And they get to know it straight to the point. There doesn't need to be this fluff around self-love and selling the self-love. It's like, you already are it. Like, there's nothing to learn. And the place that wants to learn is a place that's keeping you from it.
Say that again, Emma. Let that land. That was epic.
So self-love, right? This is like, yeah. Self-love, being something to learn, is the same place as keeping you from being the love of self. Any place within us that desires to be more than what we are is a place that's keeping us from knowing who we are.
So beautiful. Yeah, Tony's just said thank you on there as well. That was stunning. Amazing. So, you and Ryan, your amazing partner, are doing some pretty epic things, deep diving into some men's work as well, working with the feminine and masculine. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, this is actually...
Share about your love. I want to hear about your love.
How we met?
Yeah, give me the short version and the heart explosion for you.
Ooh, oh gosh. you know what's been really interesting? Heart Explosion has been over the time of all the realizations of just how much he's home to me. But when we met, like the first time we ever spoke, that night, we first had a call for like 2 hours. He ended up messaging me on Facebook. Long story short, I didn't really even know. Like, it wasn't like, I was dating, or it wasn't like a flirty vibe. It was just like, like, yeah, let's explore, like have a chat. And then we chatted, and yeah, we made such deep eye contact on the calls, and he kept speaking about my eyes. And I remember it was like just so beautiful because he was really just looking into them, and I was like, okay, like, and then, but he was the same. Like, Ryan has like these almond, they're like yours. Your eyes are so beautiful. He's got like these brown almond eyes, and anyway, we had that chat. We ended up both like working on each other with our medicine, and I was in the IGA car park. He got me doing clearing, and it was just so funny. And then that night we ended up getting on a Zoom and eating vegan ice cream together. And yeah, we both said I love you, the first chat we ever had, but not like fluffy love, like core home, like I love you, without even realizing the depth of what that was, because it just was like it was like a reuniting. But we didn't realize because it was just so calm. It was just like, I love you. And it was like, and that was it. And yeah, I feel like the Heart Explosion has been every single day that we've sat and had the conversations we need to go deeper within ourselves. And I feel like the Heart Explosion has been cracking it like 1 billion times over to come into union, to come into the oneness, and to commit to truly showing up for each other, not in the fluff, not in the, not in the non-transparency. I feel like the most powerful thing about us is that we sit in everything and speak of it all, and then come to oneness, because we know it all shows up for us to just be with each other and create that in the world. So our work, it's oneness. It's creating for the men especially. And I feel like for me, it was such a huge shift, because I worked so deeply with women for so long. Still am. We still have the invitation. It's just like the actual forefront aim. And then when I realized what it was, like the biggest epiphany was like, the deepest work I can do for a woman is work with a man. The deepest work that I can do for a woman is to celebrate and honor the men. Show the men who they truly are already. And Ryan and I he's been like the most epic guide in this, because it didn't burst through me until now, because I was just in the dark. I went through some deep like consciousness healing, so I was in the void big time, and I was like, everything's leaving my life, like like I don't even know who I am in this moment, and I'm working with men, and what's my place? And so he's just guided me so powerfully in the knowing that I'm meant to be with him in this space. So masculine, and it's like fucking amazing. And now it's just like this deep, for me personally, working with men is like this deep honoring of knowing and feeling and guiding to the place where there's nothing to fix. Like the most empowered space that I can hold for a man, to show him and let go of the limiting beliefs through my modality, but work with him on knowing just how amazing and how women are ready to take some of the weight. Like for us to hold that space for them now. And I feel like for me, I do it for my father and my brother, the ones that really struggle to receive me in that way. And I do it for the fathers and brothers that come after me, for the generations that get to change, to receive us in our power now. Women are ready. Women are ready.
Yeah. Just goosebumps. This is like goosebumps upon goosebumps. And I feel like there's such a graceful strength that's coming forward in women.
Yeah.
And it's not a dominance anymore. It was like the tables turned, and it went from dominant men to then women going, fuck you.
Yeah.
And now it's like the women have just come into their own and are craving that some say king energy. I like king energy, that masculine energy where we can be held. We don't want to be
fixed.
And I think I feel, and women, I found that women for such a long time, and with the paradigm shift, for such a long time, that women were being both masculine and feminine, and it still happens, right? So in their relationships, when they're taking on the masculine formation, the man has nowhere to go but into the feminine role if the woman's dominating that. That's what I've seen personally myself. And I find that the women that are doing the deep dives now, like yourself, like me, like some epic women that we both know, some that are on this call now, I feel like we've kind of come to this different space where it's not about being dominant in each space, masculine, feminine. It's about the embodiment. And now it's important. Like, us women want the king by our side. Us women want the man that can stand there and hold the space and be that, without us being dominant over the top of that. And I see so much of that shifting and changing now. I love what you're doing with Ryan. I love that he's on here now.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, I think, like you said, I'm so prominent in this conversation to be like, this isn't about quality. Far from it. Actually, the opposite. Any woman that I've had even women bring me men saying, like, my man needs to work on himself and I really want him to match me, sort of thing. And I'm like, like, don't even speak to me on that. I'm not in a disempowering way. It's not about the equalization. It's about oneness. It's about the readiness of, like, for me even, you know, I've been on women's circles where I've deeply dived into myself, which is so beautiful in my queendom, and it's so liberating. But then coming into union with Ryan it wasn't easy to come into union and express that same place with him, because I'm only with women. And same thing with Ryan and his king energy, like in men's circles. And it's so both needed. But where's the bridge? You know, where's the space that gets to be like, here's your fully expressed both? And how do you then come into oneness and yin and yang and allowance of fullest expression together of your souls? Like letting go of what a man used to look like and now what a man is. And that is self. That is individual essence. I believe a man that is man is a man. A woman is a woman. Like, there's nothing that can take that away. So it's this new paradigm of being a bridge to create the oneness in this collective. And hold the space for women to be fully fucking expressed in every way and with their man, and the same in the opposition. And women are ready for the primal in the man and the strength in the man, the scream in the man. And we can handle that. And if that's the thing that a man desires to really allow himself to go to heal or whatever, a man gets to, you know, without feeling like we're scared, because we're not. In a safe manner, of course, not in a toxic environment, but like a man's animal, like he gets to come out. He's safe now, you know?
With that safety, one of the things I find is so important is that the man needs that safety as well, to know that he has that. And a woman gets to hold a man so that he can let out that in himself also.
Yes, exactly. That's what this work with Ryan and I is about, that I get to be that place that introduces them to a full feminine essence of seeing them and them receiving me and me receiving them. It's so powerful because that's everywhere. You know, there's so many queens now. So many queens. And all women are queens. And it's like, I feel like we all get to step in. And it's just a space that, and the deepest place for me is just honoring. Like, I feel like my one thing, I've actually started to introduce here, it's some potent men coming on, and it's called honoring the men. Like, my thing is, like, my number one priority in this space is to honor the men. Like, number one above it all, like, and honor the women. Like, just this honoring energy, this queendom of, like, showing people how amazing they are above self-love, like, honoring, like, the sacred space. We are sacred. Like, so sacred. We, like, that's another conversation.
My body's just like, yes.
Yeah. So.
Oh, amazing. All right, let me ask you some. At the end, I'll let people know, get you to share where people can connect more and tune in with what you and Ryan are doing and what you do, the impact you make in the world on your own also. I would love to ask you some. I don't have these prepared.
I'm ready.
I'm going to ask you some random questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Sweet or savory?
Sweet. Totally sweet. Unless it's peanut butter, but peanut butter is sweet too.
Nice. Mountains or ocean?
Ocean. 100%.
Favorite book?
Ooh. Inspiration by Wayne Dyer.
Oh, nice.
That's an epic book.
Is that the one where he goes into the Tao?
No. He goes into like.
There's one I've got.
You go. You go.
All right. He goes into something, the Tao Ching, I think it is. I've got it on Audible when I just started listening to it a little bit ago, and it's really amazing. And his voice, now, what's the one that you're going into?
Yeah, he goes into, it's pretty much like going into consciousness and the soul, like inspiration and the meaning behind that and what it means to be inspiring in this world. And it's potent. Like, so it's like every time I listen even to the audio, it's a deep remembrance of even my essence of like frequency we get to hit. It's amazing. Every time I listen to it, like straight away just comes the frequency. It's awesome.
And what's the name of it again?
Inspiration.
Okay,
Yeah.
Look that in.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. What's been one of your most favorite experiences in your life?
I'd have to say my awakening, like the other one, not the one that I told you about. That was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I had another experience where I overnight was never a bit into spirituality, never knew anything about it actually. Well, yeah, I knew about it, but it wasn't something that I ever stepped into consciously. It was just I fell into it. I've always been open-minded, and a woman took me through a quantum healing session in a group of women. And then the next morning I was like channeling, speaking to my guides, like an Abrahamic frequency, speaking to my granddad, my pop, like overnight. And that was a whirlwind for 6 months. But yeah, definitely like the most life-altering experience. Definitely. Like, oh my God, the stories.
Amazing. Do you have a shout out for that woman? I would love to connect in with her.
Yeah, Grace. Her name's Grace Dean. I'll do a 3-way. I've had probably like 6 sessions with her now. And yeah, the most potent, like if you're ready, go for it.
Epic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I already have super strong connection with
I
my
can tell.
soror. Yeah, and I'm just like, boom, let's go. Next level. My body's like, let's go.
She is.
Gets so excited.
Like, and the experiences I've had, like from it, I'm not someone that searches. I don't need to know. I just allow, and then I have the experience of everything. But with her, I've had other experiences that have confirmed everything that in those 2 sessions that have happened are actually in my being. Like, it's just next level. So I definitely will. Yes, definitely message her.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And what is the last thing that you would like to add into this conversation?
Ooh, an honoring for you and the way that you show up, sister. Like, the way I experience you, Allie May, is somebody that is so fucking potent with their truth and vulnerable, but also so powerful in the way that you won't allow anyone else's perspectives in these areas to shift who you be. And that in this generation, in this way, is so important. Like, so important, because it's what's needed for everyone to find their own way home. And I feel like you hold that space so powerfully that you're just home, and you show that, and there's nothing that will shift you from that space. And you're just a queen. Like, I see you and I adore you, and I've always seen you for so long. And I honor you for walking the path you have, because I know when you're home what it takes to get there.
Thank you. Receiving all of that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, amazing. And where can the beautiful souls that have joined us today, and anyone who's watching the replay, where can they find you? Where's the best place?
Facebook. I love connecting. Like, first and foremost is like non-professional whatsoever. What's professional to me? That's how I create professional. It's like connection. So yeah, reach out and message me, have a chat, anything that lands, or anything to do with the men's work, or anyone. I don't close. Anyone that my soul needs to receive receives. So yeah, just reach out to me through Facebook. I'll put message me. I've got a website and stuff, but I feel message me would be the best.
Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me this morning.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's such an honor to have connected with you. Just this last week, it was kind of like, wasn't it? I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you're doing the Conscious Leaders now, aren't you, Sunshine Coast? We'll have to come and check it out.
Well, interestingly enough, I'm going to put it out there. We haven't got a speaker locked in for next Wednesday, and I would love to invite you, if you're available, to come and be our guest speaker for that.
What date is that?
Next Wednesday, I know it's very short notice, and if it's not this Wednesday, we'll make it.
No, we can do it.
Wednesday 2nd.
Because we just have one other on the 8th. So 2nd sounds perfect. But I'm just gonna pitch. Would you mind? Because Ryan and I, because we actually have an experience, if you're open to it, that we took through 100%. On Gold Coast. So it's power. Yay! Done. Locked in.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
That was easier. I was talking to Nat this morning. You were there already.
Yeah.
I was talking to Nat this morning, and she's like, "Have we got a speaker locked in yet?" And I'm like, "No, but I trust. I just trust." It was like no one was aligning for the time.
Yes.
Like, here we go. That's why. Goosebumps.
Yes. We get to go on a
Amazing.
journey. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I'll connect with you afterwards.
Yeah. Amazing. Love you, sister.
Thank you, Queen. Love you too.
Bye.
Lots of love, and thank you to every single person who's joined us
Yes.
as well. Lots and lots and lots of love to each and every single one of you. Have a beautiful afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are on the planet, and we will catch you soon.
Yeah.